The money problem ends up at some point not being a problem anymore, not because they have all the money in the world, it's because they figured out the workarounds. It's not the mindset of not having money that's the limitation. The money you have is the limitation, and people don't understand that, and that's something that people have to learn. I think we should talk a little about limiting beliefs, because that's one of the things I feel that most people come into the game with when it comes to the problems they want to overcome, not understanding that the biggest thing they have to overcome is themselves. What do you think is the biggest limiting factor that people have in their minds?
I don't have money.
But is that a belief or is that a fact? Is that a matter of fact?
It can be both, right? But not having capital is the reason why you're not starting a business or starting any side hustle. It's stupid, right? Like you can't use that as an excuse, right? It can be a fact, but knowing that you can still do something is really important.
And that's where one of the things I think is that when people need to overcome this type of thing is really just a further beatdown of what it is that they're doing, and they're not realizing exactly how to break it. Because even though people might say, okay, I don't have the money to get into it, not realizing that you don't have the money to buy a $600,000 home, you're partnering with a bank. So maybe you just need more partnerships to substitute this money problem that you supposedly have.
It's literally just about a skill set that you have, right? If you have a high income skill set, you can actually figure out a way to make money, right? Consultation, you can do an agency, right? You can get in touch with the people who might need your service and kind of sell that kind of expertise to other people, right? Those are all no money down deal. Or you can literally be a real estate agent, right? Put buyer and seller together, you make a commission. There's no product, there's no nothing. You just need to know exactly how to connect these two.
This goes to show, because when you talk to more experienced investors, people who have to scale up, the money problem ends up at some point not being a problem anymore, not because they have all the money in the world, it's because they figured out the workarounds. It's not the mindset of not having money that's the limitation. The money you have is the limitation, and people don't understand that, and that's something that people have to learn. Let's talk about the next limiting belief.
I don't have time.
Don't have time. That's one that I always find, because people use a lot of excuses when it comes to the time element of how they're going to spend their time. But you see those motivational guys talking about how, okay, you only have 8 hours in the day to go to work, you have 8 hours to live your life, and then you have 8 hours to sleep. And then Arnold's like, you don't sleep 8 hours, sleep 6 hours. If you can't do it, sleep faster. Right? Like, you gotta find a way to give yourself a little more time.
That reason can be used pretty much by anybody, right? Everybody's life gets busy, right? Family, friends, right? Business or whatever. But at the end of the day, it becomes how you prioritize your schedule.
Yeah, but people sometimes use priorities as an excuse to them not doing something, like a justification. Like sometimes I hear people talk about, high horse things like, I need to spend time with my family, and you should spend time with your family. But there's a balance to it. People have families and also start enterprises, also go to work, and also do the other things that they're doing, right? It just depends on what it was you want to balance. Do you want to balance going out to eat, spending time with your kids, spending time with your friends? You do have to balance everything to a degree, or take a period of time to focus on something to allocate your time properly.
Sometimes we also ask people whether or not you actually want it bad enough. Family time is really important. If maybe you want that bad enough that you're willing to sacrifice all the side hustle. But then in that case, just don't complain about not having enough financial resource, because you're not allocating any of your time resource to learn a skill set that can actually generate a little bit more income.
Yeah, you know what? That's like, almost devil talk for some people, because when you talk about, do you want it bad enough? That's like something that somebody who's tempting you is going to say, do you want this bad enough? What are you willing to sacrifice? And
but be honest with yourself. If financial aspect is so important to you, you got to sacrifice a bit of time with your friends. If they're not attributing towards your goal, maybe you need to really dial down a little bit.
This is where I find that some people use this kind of platform or this kind of situations as a form of victimizing themselves or their situations, right? And the victimizing, what I mean here is that some people say that, oh, you're saying that in order for me to be of a reasonable financial level, I have to sacrifice so many things that I can't even be a regular human being. I can't be a person. What? Should I not be able to afford a decent car because I have to hustle and grind? But the truth is that you have to play the game with the world the way it is. The way I measure it sometimes is, at U of T, you have these Chinese students coming in from overseas, and they are studying 24/7, right? Like they hardly even sleep. They don't go out and they party. And in order to compete, some of the local students here, they can't go out for that pub life because somebody else is going to outcompete them. Is that fair? No, but you got to play.
How do people actually break through that limiting belief, right? I don't have money. I don't have time. Maybe I don't even have access to the right people, right? I don't have access to the right information. What would you recommend for these people to break through that kind of limiting beliefs?
Honestly, you have to start doing things efficiently and effectively. Like, for example, when I spend time with my family, one of the things I found I was doing inefficiently was that I was not mentally present. I was not there in the moment because I was thinking about something else. So you have to learn to compartmentalize what you're doing and be doing what you're supposed to be doing. When you're at work, work. With your family, be with your family. When you're out with your friends, be out with your friends. Don't be answering business calls. Segment, organize, use calendars to time block your days and just be efficient, and you'll find you can do a lot of things. And the other thing is, don't try to do too many things that's unrealistic. You're going to burn yourself out and find yourself exhausted at the end of the day. So there is a degree of realism, but also partnerships. Partnering with people will really start to scale up your time and working with others. If you find yourself doing remedial things that you can't be doing anymore, work with somebody who can help you with them and figure out a way to pay them.
I like what you were saying about like don't spread yourself too thin, right? Because sometimes when we're talking about like what each other's responsibility for the week or the goal for the week, then all of a sudden we're like, okay, we have 6-7 different things. No, let's bring it down to what's the top 3 that's most important to us. And then we literally just focus on those 3 things for the week. And it really gave us a way better result over time. Anchor 3 things at a time every single week. There's one other thing I would recommend other people to do is to really start changing your surroundings a little bit. There is a saying that show me 5 of your friends, I'll show you a future. That's actually really important because most of the time the words that you use and you hear is going to determine where you go. A lot of times people come home, they were like, oh my God, I'm so tired. You're going to get tired because now you're convincing yourself. You're hearing exactly what you're saying. But if you go home and say, I just need a bit of time to rest, and then I'll be okay again. You say that over and over again, like mentality-wise, the mindset-wise, like everything is gonna give you a little bit more positivity over time.
That brings us into the third, and I think this is the biggest limiting belief factor, is just simply doubting and not believing, right? Because right now, one of the things you talk about is the self-affirmation aspect. You know how you see those people who say, go look in the mirror every morning and tell yourself that I am the best. Yes, I can do this. And it was like, oh my God, this is so cringy. I don't want to do this. You know, this sounds like fortune cookie stuff, but it's powerful. And you're right. The words that people use are definitely going to affect your mental state. It has to do with sensory input. How many things are you taking in? And it's like your mind is very much like the body and the diet and the food that you put in it. The words you inject into it and the education, the information that you absorb is going to affect how you think and it's going to affect what you become.
And how you move every single day too.
Absolutely.